Okay, Katie, how you doing? I've got your work up here, and I just want to draw your attention to one thing here. So this shop nav PDF opened just fine, but this shop nav wireframe, it's an empty file. We can see it's got 0 bytes. So I'm not real sure. It wouldn't even open. It's marked as a corrupt file, and it won't open. I mean, let me show you. See, failed to open PDF. Even if I reload, same thing. And the reason I think is because it's an empty file. I even tried to open it in Acrobat Pro, and it won't open. So this 0 bytes here indicates that there's nothing in this file. So I have a feeling that might be the origin of that problem there. So let's go ahead and take a look at what you have in your Shop Nav PDF. Okay, so we've got the cover. I'm not real sure if there's any relevant. I'm not seeing relevance between Shop Nav and the illustration of the dog. So maybe you could expound on that a little bit. I'm just going to reduce this a little bit to fit in the window so we can see. Okay, so you have the problem. That's great. Good setup there. Now, don't forget, we have everything that we had included in week one's work also needs to be included in week two's process book, along with week two work. And then subsequently, week three's process book should include work from week one, week two, and week three. So as you're just kind of basically adding on to a work in progress that includes all of the previous requirements. And I say that because we don't have the inclusion of week one requirements in here. Week one meaning ideation of the problem, the target audience depicted to a very high degree. I'll show you an example of this in a second. The three main functions for the app, and then the competition. So we don't have any of that. We've got the problem, and then we jump into ideation and the stuff, personas, wireframe, storyboards, scenarios, and paper prototypes for week two. And then that's where we kind of fall short. So let's see what we have. We have a great job defining the problem. That's fantastic. The average Shop Nav user, these are actually your personas. Okay, and you might want to do a little bit more of a detailed job describing and depicting these personas. I'll show you an example in a second. And then this is called that's a great illustration, by the way. Nice work. Gorgeous illustration. Anyways, so you've got this supermarket save. This is Jess, right? So Jess was depicted as a persona, and I think it's really smart to use a persona in your actual scenario. So that's great. So you've got the scenario here, and the scenario very much should depict where the user is, what the user is doing when they're confronted with a problem for which using the app can rectify the problem. Okay, so that's great right here. But don't forget, this needs to be storyboard. This needs to be shown in a storyboard format. I'll show you an example of that in a second. Then don't forget, we need to include the wireframes of all screens as well as the paper prototypes. All right, now let me show you where we need to be. So this example is called Waste Not App. This is available over in the announcement, specifically in the announcement called Week 2 Assignment Examples. There's another one in there. You can take a look at these so you have an idea. Now each week I put examples in it. So for example, Week 3 has these Week 3 assignment examples. Okay, so it's a really good idea to get in here and take a look at the examples before you start compiling your work, just so you have a good, solid, firm understanding of what's expected. Right? Let's go ahead and jump into Waste Not. So we got this gorgeous cover, right? Then we have, from week one, we have ideation of the problem, the solution, the target audience. Well, first of all, the three main features and functions. Then we have the target market, including demographics, needs, behaviors, and values. So the target market is defined to a very high degree. Okay, then we have competition. Analysis of the competition, including pros and cons. I recommend at least 2 competitors in this section. We have personas. We started with the personas, and this is how you want to assemble your personas, kind of one per page. Give the demographic, occupation, background information, name, scenario, setting, and the bio information. I recommend 3 personas, at least 2, not 1. At least 2, recommended is 3. There's 1 second persona, third persona. Now, we take the personas and we use a persona to create a scenario. And here's a storyboard of a scenario right here. There's the scenario. It takes an individual that's listed in the persona and puts them in a situation showing the definition of the problem and how using the app can rectify that problem. Okay, so the scenarios need to be in storyboard format. Okay, so we need wireframe sketches. Wireframe sketches are a depiction of the exact screen. This example, for example, has 12 screens associated with the app. Well, at least showing 12 screens. And these are what's going to be used for user testing. Each screen is a very, very detailed depiction of exactly what that screen looks like. And when I say exactly, I mean exactly what that screen looks like. So basically, when you have all of your wireframes sketched out, you'll take the paper they're sketched on and you'll just start cutting them out. Okay, so you would cut out that, you would cut out that, and basically what you would do is you would assemble a mock phone. Okay, see that right there? That's like this mock phone that you would use to show the cover of the phone. And then each of the pages in the wireframes is cut out. Okay, so you cut them out from the main wireframe presentation, and then you use them right here for your user testing in your paper prototypes. So for example, here's your start screen, right? So you would ask the test subject, okay, where would you click to set up your account and to establish your username and your password and set up your profile? Then they would press a button, right? And then you would, if they get it right, then you would switch this page out with the sign up page, the account creation page, and then you would give them their next question. Okay, once you set up your account, where would you go to establish X amount or whatever that parameter is, right? Then they would make their choice, and then you would switch that screen out to the corresponding screen if they get it right, and then you would continue on your questioning. If they get it wrong, that's an indication that the page is not clearly showing their choices. Specifically, if you use 5 users and 3 of them get it wrong, that's an indication that that particular screen might not be as clear as it could be. Okay, so that's where we need to be. So my recommendation is to get your assignment to this, and really for next week, for week 3. I shouldn't say next week, I should say for week 3's presentation of your process book, make sure everything is in place. So I just go over here, and here's the week 2 project 2 mobile app prototype begin page, and here's all the requirements. Okay, so add those to week 1's for week 2's presentation, then add week 3's along with week 1 and week 2 for week 3's presentation. You see what I'm saying? So we have a accurate depiction of the work in progress for each week, reflecting the requirements associated with each subsequent week. Okay, so again, that's where we need to be. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or clarifications, please let me know. I'll be glad to provide clarity in any of the above. But I just want to, at this point, I just want to reinforce the fact that we're just a little bit behind. And I think that this corrupt file right here, this empty file right here, would maybe show a little bit more information. So you might want to get that to me as soon as possible so we can look and really make sure that we're in the right direction here. So Katie, good job, good start. So please let me know if you have any questions at all, and I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. Thank you very much.